Major companies are donating money to extreme right-wing politicians who have floated policy proposals that include the possibility of executing women who have gotten an abortion. I'm not even kidding. So there's a specific example that was revealed by excellent reporting over at TYT Investigates. Andy Hirschfeld did this report, and I want to share the details with you. For instance, in Texas, Republicans have tried as recently as this year to pass bills that could mean the death penalty for women convicted of getting an abortion. So just hold on, before I give you more details of the story, just let that sink in. Just consider the irony of that. We're so pro-life that we will execute women who have abortions. So it just goes to prove the point that I've been making over and over again, that this isn't about being pro-life, this isn't about protecting the life of a zygote or an embryo. This is just about punishing women, and that's it. Let me give you more details. The proposed bill, the Abolition of Abortion Through Equal Protection for All Unborn Children Act, would have made it so that women who get abortions and physicians who perform them could be charged with homicide, which is punishable by the death penalty in the Lone Star State. Now, comparable bills, by the way, have been introduced in other states like Wisconsin, Alabama, and North Carolina. And who would support something like this? Well, one of the biggest proponents of this type of legislation is Texas State Representative Tony Tinderholt from Arlington. Tinderholt introduced similar bills in 2017 and in the 2019-2020 legislative session. In fact, he makes an argument for this type of legislation in the next video, which is from May of 2017.
Are you aware that state law currently says, according to Texas Penal Code 1.07, that an individual means human being who is alive, including an unborn child at every stage of gestation from fertilization until birth? What you're talking about is a horrific crime that no woman should ever have to deal with. But I want to cover the 5th and 14th Amendments. No person shall be deprived of life without due process of law. That's pretty important amendments because the children that are being aborted are, according to state law, they are life. I agree with you that every woman should have control of her body. But according to state law, and then according to the Constitution of the United States of America, that life inside the woman is a life of its own. And so my question to you is, I know we disagree on this topic. My question to you is, that child is not complicit with what that man did to that woman, which again, I want to reiterate is absolutely horrific. I could never imagine it. Do you take issue with two wrongs making a right?
In that video, he is arguing that a woman who got pregnant after being raped should not be allowed to get an abortion. That's specifically what he's referring to there. And there are major corporations, including AT&T, United Services Automotive Association, and others who have continued giving him money for his campaign despite this disgusting, egregious behavior.
He's so pro-life that his biggest corporate backer is Altria. That's a tobacco company that kills people for a living. Oh, I'm so pro-life. Get cancer, get cancer. I'm making money off of it. Get cancer. Oh, I'm so pro-life. Now they just look. You want to protect the so-called life that you're talking about. Well, if it's a life, it's okay. Actually, when it's a life, we agree. You can take it out and it'll be an independent life form.
Yeah, let's see a zygote be a viable outside the womb and talk to me about how that is the same thing as a living, breathing human being. The same living, breathing human beings that members of his party, including himself, have no problem watching suffer on the streets, leaving them completely alone and helpless when they need government assistance. Like, these people do not care about people's lives at all. It's so clear.
Yeah, so after viability, everyone agrees, don't let Republicans lie to you, everybody agrees that at that point it's an independent life form and has its own rights. But before viability, it is 100% dependent on the mother, and the mother gets to choose what she wants to do with her body. If you say no, you should not choose what you get to do with your body. You have an obligation to that other life that is dependent on you. Well, okay, that's an interesting theory. So a lot of people need kidney transplants. The government's gonna come and take your kidney. What? The other person's gonna die. I'm pro-life. What? They're gonna die, and they're an actual person. So we're just gonna take your kidney. Well, why not? I mean, you don't have any bodily autonomy. We're taking away bodily autonomy from women. So why don't, and since we're taking it away from women in the case of abortion, why don't we take it away from men in the case of kidneys? So from now on, if anytime anybody needs a kidney, the government can seize your body and take it. What, are you against life? Oh, you don't like it when it's done to you.
Jake, you can't even get these clowns to wear a mask during a global pandemic. You can't get them to wear a mask. You can't get them to agree to vaccinations. Please don't come at me about how this is really about life and protecting life. This is not about life. This is about punishing women, period. End of story. And look, if you happen to be a religious person who, based on your religion, you're completely convinced that it's life at the moment of conception, great. Great, that is your opinion. Don't have an abortion. But again, don't force that on everyone else. Don't force that on everyone else. And I do want to give some specifics in regard to these corporations that are funding the campaigns of just absolutely deplorable lawmakers like the individual we're talking about here. So Tinderholt's most notable donor, as Cenk had mentioned earlier, is Altria Group, and the giant tobacco company has given him a combined $3,000 since his first election, $2,000 of which was given in July of 2020 after he first introduced his bill. But make no mistake about it, I mean, the video that we showed you was from 2017. He has a long history of this type of belief that women should be essentially punished, both after they get raped and they become pregnant from that rape, and if they happen to get an abortion because they don't want to carry that pregnancy to term. The United Services Automobile Association also donated to him to the tune of $1,000. Charter Communications, that's a big corporation. The parent company of the cable internet service provider Spectrum gave $1,000 to Tinderholt through its Texas PAC in the 2020 election cycle. And of course, there's also AT&T, which has given him a total of $1,500. AT&T reports that it gave Tinderholt $500 between July and December of 2020.
So I want to be clear, the companies are not giving them money just so they can take away women's rights. They're giving them money because of normal corruption. They're bribing them for legislative and regulatory actions in Texas. So AT&T is a very conservative company. They're the ones who funded OAN in the first place to do conservative propaganda on behalf of AT&T. And so they're saying, now remember, you're just an errand boy that works for us, okay? Oh, you hate women and want to murder them in certain situations? No problem, I don't care. As long as you give me my tax cuts and deregulate my industry, okay? And do as you're told.
By the way, deregulation worked out real well for Texas's privatized power grid, right, Cenk? That didn't lead to any deaths during a winter storm.
No, but corporations made money off that death, so that's totally okay.
Those deaths are okay.
Those are okay.
Literally hundreds of people in Texas died because of the fact that the privatized, deregulated power grid meant that they didn't weatherize their equipment, which means that there was all this malfunction happening during a severe winter storm.
So he said in that rant of his that, the United States Constitution says that it's a life form and must be protected. It doesn't say any such thing. He's absurd. He just made that up completely because Republicans lie all the time as a matter of course because they're used to never being checked by the press. And you want to talk about government tyranny. Government tyranny is not, hey, can you please put on a mask so you don't kill other people? And Republicans go, I don't care about killing people. I'll take my contagious disease and spread it all over you. I'm pro-life. Yeah, you're absurd. No, government tyranny is, I now possess your body. You are not allowed to do anything with your body that I don't sanction. And you are to be a vessel for the children that I want to bring into the world. But now, are they actually children? He says at the moment of fertilization, a lot of contraceptives work after fertilization. Does anyone think that those contraceptions like IUDs actually committed mass murder? No, no one actually believes that. Even the right wingers don't believe that. On the other hand, they're proposing here to execute women who have been raped. Gee, I wonder what's worse, contraception that ends a pregnancy after fertilization or murdering women after they've been raped? Government tyranny. What a bunch of liars the right wing are. They love government tyranny as long as it's on behalf of their view of fundamentalist religion. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.